We are live.
Awesome. So excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Crystal Harmony.
Great.
Hi. Wonder if he's going to
Hello.
talk about Laurie Vallow.
We could talk about whatever you want. True crime is my thing. I've been watching. I'm going to point in the right direction now. Yeah, I did it. Good. Everything's reversed. I've been watching this guy since the beginning, and I'm just amazed at just the way you research things. Like, it's so meticulous, and like we were just saying before we became live, like so much stuff gets made up, speculation and everything like that, and it's like you wonder sometimes where people get this stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess it's a big game of Chinese YouTubers or Chinese whispers. But hey, Miss Wee Lassie, I'll just see who's coming in.
So how did you get started in with your channel on YouTube?
Well, I was watching you. I was watching who else was I watching? I was watching John Crimes, Oni, Molly Golightly when she covered the Chris Watts case, and then I must have just started a couple of months after you. It took me about 8 months. It took me from Chris Watts till February last year to decide to do a channel, because I wasn't sure that I would be up for it. I think my main concern was the trolls. I had like so much drama, especially in the true crime community. And I was like, am I up for this? And then when I started, I actually don't get any trolls because I'm like you and I don't do the drama. I won't put up with it. It's just a waste of time when you could be out there, doing something else that you enjoy instead of, I don't know, making other people miserable or fighting about stupid stuff. So for me, I think you're a great example of being able to grow a channel big, and I consider your channel to be big, but without doing the drama. Like it proves that it can be done. And so even in my first live, I was like mentioning you and other channels that inspired me to get started. And I think my first story was an Australian one, but I have last year I did concentrate on a lot of American crime as well. So there's lots of people coming in. I'm not used to it. So hi, Kevin from South Carolina. Hello from Brisbane. That's my my town. So I'm just so excited to be able to talk to you and pick your brain and I don't know, just talk about what anyone. Hey, Caleb, what anyone wanted to talk about. Like, I guess the biggest thing you sort of told me a little bit before we were live, but I didn't know how you got into this. Yeah. And you were saying that there was a case that you wanted to research, but was that like a like family members or you knew the people?
Well, I knew. So how I got started on YouTube was I was doing some research on a case that really interested me. And it was a case that I knew the parties on both sides. I knew the plaintiff. I knew the defendant in the case. And I was there as a spectator in the court from the very first day that the case started all the way up till the end when the verdict was read on a case. And I wanted to, originally I was online. I just wanted to know more about, there were people who actually were testifying as expert witnesses. And I wanted to know who they were. And was this one medical examiner who was there in the case, was he the actual a disgraced medical examiner who later on they found out that he had lied and fabricated evidence? Was he the actual expert that they had there on in the case? And I also wanted to know more about the entire process of who is this the prosecutor, who is the defense attorney in the case. I mean, I didn't know them personally, but I knew the actual parties, of the case. And everywhere I went online, it didn't matter if it was in print material, if it was a YouTube video, it was made by a creator out there. It was filled with lies. And I could not figure out for the life of me how it was that people were making content and had absolutely complete, they weren't there. I'm like, where were they in the trial? This never happened. That didn't happen. She never said that on the stand. And I was there for every single witness in every single case, part of the case.
Yeah.
And I was like, what would happen? And I decided, I'm going to make a video and I'm going to put it out on YouTube. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell everybody what exactly happened in this case. From the first day, the second day, and the third day, before the defendant actually ended up taking a plea deal and to it. But what was the actual trial like? And if nobody wants to hear the actual truth, then great. And the first comments I got were, you don't know what you're talking about. Where's your proof? What do you know about this? You can't possibly know this. You didn't know that. And I'm like, I was there. I took pictures of of myself. Well, I didn't take them. I had somebody else take them of me and the defendant together. He's on one side of the wooden wall, like little parkade, that separated us between, them and his defense, and me and the lady who was the prosecutor, the person who was pressing the charges. And I had pictures of us, had pictures of me in the courtroom. I was on the news media in the gallery, and yet people didn't believe me. And I'm like,
so you could basically just be holding a smoking gun, and people were still like.
And then I quickly realized from that point on, regardless of what I do, people are not going to believe me. So I might as well do exactly what I want to do, put the truth out there, and make an emphasis on the channel, putting content out there that here's the information that I know of. Here's what I can factually prove. You make the decision for yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I decided, look, if people want to actually, know what's real and what's not right, what's not real, they can decide for themselves.
Yeah.
And for the most part, a lot of people have really grasped onto that I don't push, give me your money, this is how poor I am. You've got to support me, subscribe to my content. I leave it up to everybody else. Look, you want to subscribe to me? Great. If you don't, I'm still going to make the same content anyways. I'm still going to be here. I want you to be here, but if if you can be respectful and, talk like an adult and we can have a rational conversation, I'll talk to you.
And we don't have to agree as long as we can just agree to disagree without tearing each other apart. And that's one of the nice things. And also it's a reflection on your subs as well, because you can tell by like just going into one of your lives, for example, how people behave and treat other people. That's that's a reflection on you, and it's a reflection back on them that they you know, yeah, exactly, like Tammy. So you know, that makes perfect sense to me now why I want to say, like, you're like probably the most meticulous person I know in the true crime community who just like really researches things. And like it's not easy, is it? It's like it takes
No.
hours.
Yes,
Hours.
it does.
You know.
And I always get the the same content, people saying questions, comments on my videos. Why didn't you talk about this? Why didn't you cover that part of it? And like, if I can't verify it through at least two sources before I actually make the video, it doesn't get in the video.
Yeah.
So, and whereas sure, I can repeat word for word what came off of the the evening news or out of some magazine, but where's their proof? Where did they actually verify their stories? I will admit freely that I have used sources before that have flat out lied to me. It happens.
It happened to me last year. Yeah, in the missing Lauren Thompson case. Total debacle. Total circus. Ending up with the FBI and Texas Rangers, and I interviewed both of them. But for this missing girl in Texas, the PI she wasn't a PI, she was a PI in training, working on it, was just, I don't know if maybe she believed it herself. Maybe it was her truth and she believed it. But there were just so many things being put out there, about police corruption and things like that. And so the whole missing persons case kind of went off track. And I met her when I came over there for 5 weeks at the end of last year. And I went to Louisiana and Texas and a bunch of other places. And it just gave me that, I don't know, slap around the head that I needed to go, I'm putting too much faith in one person for this, and it can happen. And so I totally understand, and it puts you in a funny position, because with these channels, a lot of people will take you to account. It's almost like you're the face of that trial, or you're the face of that victim, or whatever. And so if you get anything wrong, or if someone lies to you, you're not out there doing it on purpose. You're not out there trying to make crap up. Right. I think it's just the nature of the beast, isn't it? And people I think can get without doing this as being a creator, I think can get a bit critical about what you do. I know that you haven't had it easy. You've had threats, and I had a death threat just before before I went over there. And it's just, I don't even want to say it's part of what we do, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
And
unfortunately, for the longest time, YouTube as a whole pretty much let it go. It was like the wild, wild west. There was no law and order on YouTube, and it took some very high-profile cases of actual harassment, stalking behavior, where they finally realized there is something serious here that we need to address, and we need to at least give the creators and the communities around those creators the ability to squash this before it goes any farther. Because there, for the longest time, people could write whatever they wanted in a comment section, and you couldn't remove it. You couldn't do anything. You had no ability to report it, nothing.
Yeah.
And they're like, ew, we kind of missed that one.
You know, I remember talking about all of this doxing and swatting at the beginning of last year, like pretty much almost like just a couple of months in, and no one was listening. And it doesn't even feel like anyone's listening now, you know,
Well,
reporting these people that they have guns and they're going to kill their children or, you know, things like that. And and if a YouTuber died tomorrow from swatting, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all, because especially with this lockdowns and things like that, people are getting worse. They're not getting better.
no, no, they're
And
not.
I know everyone's going stir crazy, but come on, you know, it's like there's more constructive things to, you know, talk about and work on. And I'm trying to figure out this missing persons case here that's come up. They've been this elderly couple's been missing for, when they're not a couple. This is the thing. They're in their 70s and they went camping in the Victorian bush like a month ago, and they're both missing. The thing is, he was married and his wife didn't know that this woman, she knew they were friends for 50 years, but she didn't know that this woman was camping with him.
Oh.
And then there was, and so was there foul play? Did they decide to run off and start a new life together? The campsite was burnt, like a table and the tent and that, and part of the car, but his car, but it could still be driven. But yeah, there's this campfire. They're not to be seen. They're supposed to be back at the end of March. The wife finds out, you know, he's camping with another woman. And the $2,000 drone he bought is missing. So it's like, I guess there'd be a lot of places in America that if you went out, say camping or whatever, and you weren't prepared overnight, like you didn't have the right clothing and that you could be exposed to the elements. That'd be safe to say, wouldn't it? Like that you could be killed by like being out, you know, unprotected overnight. Like some of the temperatures would get down pretty cold.
Yeah.
I think.
Where you're at, yeah.
And I think another thing that you might need to worry about there is, well, I've been told this particularly in Texas, like wild boar and things like that, as to why a lot of people are going missing. Now, you know, I'm not sure about the wildlife there, but if you're out camping, do you need to worry about bears and pigs?
Not so much where I live. We don't have wild boars here, but definitely down in Texas. I've got friends who live down in Texas. They live outside of Well, they lived in Albuquerque, then they moved to outside of San Antonio. But okay. They're definitely a huge problem with wild boars down there. So
yeah. So I was thinking
overrunning everything, and they will eat anything and everything that they get their hands on.
Yeah. So the reason I bring that up is because here it's not just dingoes now. The dingoes are bred with like regular dogs. What makes it worse is some of them have bred with like hunting dogs, like hounds, and you know that you would have, and so that makes it now just a wild dingo, like hybrid kind of thing. And if, say, they were out walking and one of them, you know, I don't know, had a heart attack or had a problem, I don't know. I just don't know where to go with it, because, like, wouldn't the other one go back and try to get help? Or it's just, and the whole area's been searched. I mean, it is a really remote area of Victoria, like up high. They call it the Alps, but I mean, it doesn't really get a lot of snow. It might get a little bit of snow up there, but it's like bush. It's like, a very dense wooded areas. And I'm like, I don't understand, and then there's this fire, the campsite, but they bring the homicide detectives in, but they're not saying that there's any foul play or anything like that. It's just so bizarre. So that's what's going on here at the moment, but it's nothing compared, of course, to what happens in America, and especially 2020. I was wondering what the next big stories were going to be, and then we got hit with, what do we get hit with? Valo, Stout, Boswell, all within a few weeks of each other, and I was like, it's just crazy, absolutely crazy, especially the Valo case. I think
Laurie Vallow case is a case that if I spent every day researching it, every time I start looking into one little aspect, it shoots off in like different directions. Yeah, it never ends. It's like, how many of these people are so detached from reality and society and everything, but yet they are right there and they look so normal within the community, and yet at the same time they are into some really weird things.
I know, like, you can't make this stuff up.
No.
The thing that everything in Harry Potter is real, and zombies, and who are these? What is it? 144,000 dark spirits. Two of the detectives are two of them. The world's going to end on what, July 20th. I had this question for you. I always wondered, what do you think is going to happen on July 21st with Laurie when she realizes the world hasn't ended?
Well, if she's still incarcerated, then at that time on July 21st, I think she's just going to pick another date in history, down the road. Maybe the next time that there is a matching of numbers, like the 15th of or the 21st of on in a month in the 21st year. I have no idea what
kind of weird numerology kind of, I don't know, thing. And
how they decided upon 6/20 of 2020. I've watched and listened to that podcast episode over and over again, and she never explained why she picked that particular day. She
what
just
did
said
6/20.
7/20.
7/20.
Yeah,
20.
7/20 of 2020. She
Yeah,
never
it doesn't
explained why that's the actual date. She just said that's when she had to start getting things ready, and then she almost exact quote, but not exact quote. But she said, "We need to start getting ready and getting our centuries in line because the world is ending on July 20th, 2020." And then the other person interjects with a question about, have she found someone for the translation of the holy text? And then they start talking about that.
Oh, wow. So I didn't see that bit. Concentrated a lot on, was it Brandon Bordeaux's, so Laurie Vallow's niece's ex-husband, who was shot at. So I'd say presumably by Laurie's brother, Alex Cox.
Remember, they have to leave this human existence in order to go to the next level.
To the next, and yeah, they can level up, can't they? Yeah. They can level up so many times.
you have to, and that's which is scary because we don't know where the kids are. And did she actually really believe the stories that her niece put out, that she believed that her kids were possessed and that they needed to, that they were zombies? And if she really believed that, and she really does believe, and they have to leave this human existence in order to transcend, that would, well, I can tell you why she's not telling the police where her kids are, is because she knows they're dead.
Yeah, absolutely. I did a poll on my community channel, and I think like 97% or something said, yeah, they're not alive. What I feel is that Alex Cox was kind of this like a God's messenger in a way, like from their perspective, that he was the one who was carrying out a lot of what was going on, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was him that was allocated that job.
Yeah.
Was he murdered so that he wouldn't tell anyone, or did he kill himself over the guilt of it? We'll never know. And as far as Tammy Daybell's autopsy results go, is that a long time coming back? I'm not too familiar with, because I thought it would be back by now, and I thought if they wanted it sealed, they'll just put a motion in to seal it.
The actual autopsy, physical autopsy, they exhumed her body.
Yeah.
And they did a physical autopsy of her. The autopsy itself is actually been completed. What they're waiting for now is toxicology and tissue sample returns. And the way the state of Arizona works it is they don't make an actual official autopsy report until they have both parts of that together, and then they will send it to the DA, and then the DA decides if they're going to press go forward with charges or whatever. But the toxicology and the exam of tissue samples and stuff, those are I guess it's taking longer than they expected, because a lot of state labs and then a lot of employees were furloughed because of what's going on. So all the back work of laboratory testing is causing an issue with how fast they're actually getting their returns back.
Wow.
So, and quickly, Kevin Brand said it sounds like the Heaven's Gate, and then Applewhite, who was the leader of Heaven's Gate. There is actually a lot of similarities between Laurie's group and what they may believe is the end of times prophecy, and what the Heaven's Gate cult actually believed in.
Okay.
There is nothing and I have to make sure that everyone's absolutely clear on this. There is nothing that I have found yet in writing where Laurie talks about, or anything she has said verbally in a podcast or to another person, that talks about what their end game is. And a lot of religious groups that are fringe groups like Laurie's group learned a lot of really positive lessons, as they see it, from David Koresh and the Branch Davidians. Don't put anything in writing, because later on, if it leaks out, it can be used against you. So a lot of these groups, they just never put anything in writing like that. But they have to have some type of end of times prophecy. They've already decided Laurie is this deity, and they're going to do the transcription. They're going to have their own little compound, and there has to be some game for them all to believe that the world is actually ending on this particular day. What that might be is going to be a mass suicide, like the Heaven's Gate group, where they all took cyanide capsules because they believed their mothership was behind the Halley's Comet. We don't know.
Yeah. Now, I was just going to ask you about that. Do you think, and of course, no bail bondsman is going to touch her, if she were to have cash assurity, property, whatever, and get out, do you think that she and Chad would do some kind of suicide pact together. That's kind of how I feel. Like, I don't think she would run, especially with all the court stipulations of ankle monitor, the fact that her passport's expired, the fact that, I don't know, she has no money.
She has
Don't
money.
know how much he's got.
Laurie has money. Chad's got money. Their biggest problem.
Chad had money.
Yeah,
I'm not too sure. He had 136,000 in his account. There's a photo of that amount. Did he spend that on attorney fees for her, or is he keeping it for himself?
It's a good question. I haven't looked at his bank account, so I don't know how much money he actually has. But I know at the time that Laurie and Chad moved from Arizona to actually Idaho, before the issue with the kids came up, she did have a good amount of money in her personal accounts at that time.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that amount.
I think it was close to like $9,000 to $10,000 in her checking savings.
Okay.
But it's a good amount, and I'm guessing she's probably been adding to that from the death benefits, that the federal government has been sending her for JJ and Tylee.
I remember I caught up on this morning's live that you did, and about the stipend, if you want to call it that. Do we know like how much those stipends were?
So the date that. All right, so this is kind of how it works. I don't know how much she's actually getting, but there's Joseph Ryan, and then there is Charles, Valerie. They're two separate things with the Social Security Administration. They're not just one person, one check. So she's getting two direct deposits, most likely directly into her account, one for Tylee and one for JJ. And they'll get them until they're the age of 18. And Tylee, when she on her 18th birthday, I believe is last time. So let's just say that Joseph Ryan died on a Tuesday, and she filed for death benefits on Thursday of that week. From the date that she files until they actually approve it, they will back pay all that to that date that she actually filed. And then she'll get one large check for that and deposited. And then every month. I didn't realize
they retroactively did that. Yeah.
But as they probably were, wasn't that much of a delay in between it. It's, it all from the time, because neither one of them were ruled suspicious.
Yeah. Now they're concentrating on kind of her involvement in Charles's, or is it Tammys?
No, they're looking at both.
Yeah, both.
Because they want to know, did Laurie set Charles up?
Yeah.
I mean, there's something that really stinks about the entire thing, that it just I just take a step back from it all, and I look at it, and I'm like, if I was Charles, and I went there to pick up my son to take him to school, the last thing I would want to do is, one, be left in the house with someone who made physical threats against me in the past. Alex made threats to Charles in the past. I wouldn't want to be at home with him alone. No. And if I was had to be stuck in that situation, the last thing I would do is let my soon-to-be ex-wife take my rental car and take my son to school. Leaving me there with no way to actually get out of the situation. I'm like, why would they do that? Unless it was set up from the beginning. And maybe Charles was incapacitated or something, he walked into the house. This is hypothetical. I'm just brainstorming here. Let's just say hypothetical situation. He walked into the house to take JJ to school, and immediately Alex was there with the gun and made him, sit down in a chair, held him at gunpoint, and said, "You need to back off my sister." In the meantime, Laurie takes the children, puts them in his rental car, takes JJ to school, and then comes back and says, "Finish him while I'm gone." I mean, it's a hypothetical situation that could have actually happened. I don't have any proof to that, but
Tylee's supposedly there with a bat against him saying, "Stay away from my mother," and I'm like,
and that confrontation supposedly happened in the morning hours before it all. But
right.
If you watch the actual interviews of Laurie, there's a police interview with her at the police department talking to the detectives there, and
I have seen a little bit of that.
They blurred Tylee out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It doesn't sound like any 17 or 16-year-old girl I've ever met, who over and over again referred to, "Well, in hindsight, this is how I see it." Well, in hindsight, I guess you could actually see it that way. And well, in hindsight, I'm like, who the hell is this?
17-year-old thinks about hindsight.
Yeah, or says it verbally to an officer.
Verbally. So she's clearly being fed the narrative.
Yeah, and the entire thing just screams of that it was a rehearsed statement. So, Laurie's laughing, sitting up against the car and laughing about, "Oh, I've only been here for 3 weeks. Oh, is he dead? Oh."
Yeah.
I'm like, that is your child's father. The only father that child has ever known.
Yeah.
Is dead in the living room, and you think it's funny. But yeah, she is definitely
It's not just her though. It's like some of the other family. It's like, it's, I don't know. The grandparents, the eldest son, what's his name?
Cody?
Not Jack. Cody. I don't know. There's just something about not just Laurie, but like other people. Just about just about the way they act. I mean, I know there's no correct way to act when and when a child goes missing or anything like that. But
no.
I couldn't. I don't know. I couldn't put my finger on. I don't know, when they were on Dr. Phil, just the interactions back and forth just didn't. I can't even find the word for it. I don't know if you guys can help me out, but it's just like,
grief does an amazing thing to the brain. I mean, I have seen people in grieving situation and just after a traumatic situation from when I was in the service. Mm-hmm. I've seen people who lost a really good friend, and it's like, boom, it's like a light switch clicks off in their head, and somebody who was perfectly mentally stable 10 minutes before thinks that everything is funny. Or or at the opposite side of it, I've seen people just absolutely completely, someone who is a rock solid, you can rely on to the end, bawling, and completely unconsolable, and it's that shock and and the traumatic event.
I guess so. I
don't see that as a traumatic to Laurie in her interactions and on the police videos. It doesn't look like to her it was a traumatic event. It was kind of like, you know what, we're all just going to die, so I guess today was Charles Day.
And you look at her in the courtroom, it's like smiling, and there's nothing serious going on here at all.
No.
It's like, I don't even know what to do with that. And I just finished going through the affidavit for Letitia Stout, She's
Oh.
another one who's like, whoa, where did these women come from this year? And, it's like, just
Letitia.
when you think it couldn't get any worse, we get COVID, and yeah. So I think it's. I just don't know who the next crazy woman is going to be, and maybe COVID has slowed it down a little bit, or maybe it's made it worse. I don't know. Definitely the domestic violence has gotten worse here.
It is getting worse everywhere.
Yeah.
It is. Unfortunately, I was I keep close tabs on crime statistics. With here in the United States, we have the Department of Justice
Mm-hmm.
and the FBI here in America. They both keep a pretty close. The police jurisdictions from around the country report to them crime statistics, and they don't update them daily, but they usually update them once or twice a month, and but it's not consistent enough where you can check on it every day. And it's amazing just how much suicide calls have been coming, or crisis calls are on the rise. They're shooting through the roof. Domestic violence, and then the third highest spike is in child endangerment calls, child abuse calls. It's sad, and
yeah. I mean, I know that they were anticipating it, of course. And one of the concerning things here is that alcohol sales have gone up by 86%. So I'm like,
44% in my state.
Let's just add that to the mix, and everyone's either in for a really good time or a really crap time. Do you think Letitia had help? No. I don't know what you think.
How did Gannon get that far from home? Gannon's body, how far? I mean, from where she lived to where Gannon's body.
How many miles is that? Hundreds of miles. Yeah.
How did Gannon's body get there? You would think that I don't know for sure, but I would think that Letitia would have been watched.
They were watching from reading that affidavit. Now, bearing in mind that it was written before his body was found, they were on her from like the minute that she reported it, because they had the surveillance of where she went, and there was nothing wrong with the Volkswagen that she had, but she hired the other white car. But they were right on her right away. They didn't believe her story. I know that much.
Well, which story? That's the hard part. Which story? She kept on changing the story so many times. It was like, you sit here and you're reading through what she said in her affidavit, and before you even get done, she changed her story again.
Yeah, come
on, follow one narrative, lady.
Yeah, just one narrative, and then introducing in Quincy Brown, who did nothing to her, didn't take Gannon, didn't kill Gannon, didn't do anything.
Straws.
But that affidavit, obviously, I haven't seen any other anything else that adds to that after the body was found. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm usually pretty good on with the paperwork, kind of the court stuff, but they still haven't explained how the whole Florida thing. They've explained the first part all really well. And do I think she had help? No, because I think by her internet searches, you can clearly see what state of mind she was in. She felt like a glorified babysitter, and he wasn't interested in her. So that just exacerbated this feeling of resentment and anger, I guess. And so that's why I think it's totally on her alone, because there's no other reason for anyone else to be involved. How did she do this? How did she pull off this whole Florida thing? I don't know. I don't. Do you have any? I don't know. Do you have any theories on it? Or
No. I believe she had help from somebody, but
you think she had help? Huh?
I don't know. And it's got to be somebody who was close enough to her, who wanted to protect her. It has to be like a family member or somebody who, came in after the fact that Gannon was dead, and then said, "Okay, we got to try to fix this situation. Get the blame away from you." It has to be somebody who cared enough to want to help her. And
there's only one person. There's only one person who would do that. That's Haley, her daughter.
Yeah.
Who else would want to protect her? Al was this interested in it.
It could be somebody that we just don't know about yet.
And that makes sense that, yeah, okay, she's 17, but isn't she 18 really soon? Or I don't know.
Either way, she's going to be prosecuted as an adult.
Yeah, but they're trying, Letitia's doing this whole, you left a minor there without a minor child there, and she couldn't go and get any food, and all the rest of it. This whole kind of, and keep her off camera, and I'll interview where she's got her back to the camera, and so I don't really want her in this. Did she not want her in this because she was 17? Did she not want her in this because she did get help and it was Haley? Who else? Alley Cat said she had close family in North Carolina. Another sugar daddy? Don't know about that one. Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't spent as much time researching and reading about her as much as other cases, but
we don't go insane if we had to know everything about a case. I think I just know more about Stout than I do Valo, I think, and you know more about Valo, I think.
Unfortunately.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
I am less than 200 miles from where Laurie Vallow is currently incarcerated.
I don't know whether to be scared or happy for you.
Frankly, I'm very scared. No.
You think you'd like a visit?
I was actually. This is serious though. Is my wife actually asked me? She said, "Well, since you're not working now, do you want to go up to the courthouse when she has her next court date?" And I'm like, "No, those freaky people are going to be outside."
Yeah, and not to mention that anyone around her dies.
Anybody
if you get really bored, there's an option.
I don't think she's going to kill me to try to hide something,
Yeah.
because I'm not going to help her.
No. Have you got $100,000 cash as surety or
Well, I'm
property?
sure my wife has got me insured for a good amount of money.
Oh dear. Oh,
But
why do we do this? Why do we do this?
true crime to me is like a jigsaw puzzle where you
Yeah.
don't know where the pieces are. You have to make the pieces, and then as you put the pieces together, it actually makes the puzzle.
Yeah, it's not actually just putting them together. You've got to find them first.
Yeah, you have to find the piece and then figure out how you turn that piece around and how it fits into the puzzle, and then you get to see the whole picture, and you're like, after the end of it all, you're like, it's an apple. It's a freaking apple. Because it's so simple and looking at it from the other direction outward.
Yeah.
But from the outside looking in, it's like it's a million pieces and nothing seems to fit together. But that's what I love about true crime is you can. I have like an outline that I use for each and every story that I report on, and I run off photocopies of it. And then it starts off with, who am I researching? And then what do I know about it from the media? And then the key players that are secondary in the story. And then I break it down like that. And then I like we were talking about earlier before we started this, I fill out, all these notebooks filled full of papers. Like this is just Laurie Vallow. And I was looking for
amazing though, like just your thought process and like everything. And this is, I think this is why, and that you don't do the drama as well. It's just like so exciting to see that it can be done, know.
And that's what I tell so many people, and I'm helping a couple of channels get started now. And I was like, if you just look at it, and you tell the truth, and you try to do your due diligence throughout the entire thing. If you want to, like, I know, like, Leave It to Beaver. I saw your comment earlier about the hatred that you said, and this is why you're really didn't want to start a YouTube channel. You can go in and turn comments off on anything, on everything. You can do it on the channel level, so nobody will be able to leave a comment on anything at all. You can turn the thumbs off, thumbs up off. You can, so nobody sees how it's being ranked. And the trolls really love the fact that they can see that it's getting, how many thumbs up and how many thumbs down it's getting. They love that. As soon as somebody else puts it a thumb down, oh yeah, and then they just love to jump in on that. And whenever there's a negative comment, they feed on it. It's like, what they live for. But you can turn all that off and then just make it and don't pay any attention to it, other than know that you did your best you could, and I mean, I look back on my first videos though, and I'm sure you do too, Miss Murder, in this, but I look back on my first videos and I didn't do all that well. They're not the best videos in the world, but I made them and I did them and I got them out there and I said, okay.
I still feel that way, and we're always evolving, and you see it with different channels, over the last year. You see people change and evolve, or in some cases de-evolve. And
if you just go on YouTube and go to the search box at the top and type in true crime, and then when it gets to true crime, narrow it down. There's a drop down menu. You click on this little thing on the left, and you true crime by channel, and look at the largest true crime channels. Daniel Ray and all these other YouTubers. Channels in the true crime genre.
Up there
with millions of subscribers. Go in and look at their channels on the first videos that they made. Some of them started off with as cosmetic review channels,
Yeah.
and makeup tutorials, and then it slowly over time they they changed into, a couple of them were into doing psychic readings, tarot cards, and then it's it morphed into true crime. Doesn't have to always be start off with true crime. Start off with anything you want.
Yeah, whatever your enjoyment is. I mean, like you said in your live today, like, what's the point in doing it if you don't enjoy it? Like, I'm not going to sit here and do it for my health. It's like we all have. You guys know why you're here. We're here for the same reason. It's just that we're kind of, I don't know, putting it out there, but we still, sit down and read or view different cases that we don't necessarily report on because we enjoy it for different reasons. I don't know. As a teenager, I loved forensics. I wanted to be a forensic scientist, and it just fascinated me. DNA was starting to come out a bit more and more and more. And then, there's the psychological side of it that a lot of us love. Like, why does someone do what they're doing, that we would never think of doing? And like, what is going through Laurie Vallow's head? And,
And here you are in front of a green screen with blood splatter all over behind you.
Yes. Yes.
Forensic, analysis. That's one of the things that it's always interested me was blood splatter analysis and cast off patterns and stuff like that.
Yes.
Clues that that lead you into the story.
Yeah. Like, really, just, I don't know, just stopping for a moment and taking everything in around you that you wouldn't normally pay attention to on first glance. And no, I know what he's doing. I did that, but I do a lot of collaborations with Ginger Lock's mum.
Yeah.
And I always used to turn my camera off when I was smoking, and she would yell at me. So now I'm just like, oh, whatever. So she's put me in this habit. Sweet Crazy really wants to start a channel. Do it. Whatever you love to do, do it.
Talk about whatever you interests you. I know a lady who's now doing true crime, and the first dozen videos that she did were just of her sitting there and talking about her day. It started off as kind of like a video vlog, talking about and she had no audience obviously to start off with, but she started talking about her day, and it was like a video diary, and just her talking about it actually helped her deal with her anxiety that she was having. So she started off as a video just talking about her day, and then people started subscribing to her because they wanted to hear about her day, and it humanized her to the point where people were like, you know what, I deal with the same things. I'm raising a child, and that little kid, some days he just makes me want to pull all my hair out, just like this lady. And she started doing that, and then she started doing, and then she finally got up enough courage, and she started doing live streams. And the first couple times she did live streams, I think she had 4 people show up in her live streams, and she thought that it was a failure because only 4 people showed up. But those 4 same people have been with her now at year 3, and they're still there. And every chance that she gets to put out content, they're the first ones to always in the comment section, and the first ones there to watch it. They, and she just really enjoys. It's like having 4 new friends. But as time has gone on, she's built a community around what she likes to do. And
I was just going to say, you might think that you're alone, you know, in what you're feeling or what you're doing or what you enjoy or whatever. But I can guarantee you are not.
No.
If you come here and start a channel, there are at least 4 people or 1 person, or it doesn't matter. There's someone out there that enjoys what you enjoy or is going through what you're going through. You know, there are a lot of people on here with chronic pain and coming into lives like yours or whatever, or listening to a true crime story helps them, you know, and it doesn't have to be true crime. It can be, it's whatever you're passionate about. I kind of break mine up sometimes because even though I thought I was desensitized to a lot of this, you know, reading it and watching it all over the years and that, reporting on it seemed to be very different, and trying to help people was very different, and it takes a lot of energy out of me. So I realized I'm not desensitized to it because it's emotionally kind of draining me. So sometimes I'll just do something funny on the channel just to, or, you know, fun to kind of break it up. Because I'm sure you understand, like, being in this niche, I mean, it's not rainbows and puppies, is it?
No,
you know,
God, no.
Every day for us. It's but yeah, it's the fascination, you know, like we were saying.
I mean, how many true crime channels do you think are out there that the creator has COVID-19?
Well, I know of 2. You and me. You and me both. I got mine in February though.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 of us. I mean, look, everybody thought there was nobody else out there like us, you know. And I'm like, well, I don't know of anybody else that has COVID besides me. And then I started talking to you, and I'm like, oh my God, you're in Australia and you've got it.
And I had it, and I rarely go out either, too. So I was incredibly unlucky, except that when I got on the 6th of February, I went to the doctor, I went to the chemist, you guys say pharmacy.
Yeah.
And I went and had blood work done. So, I mean, if you actually think about it, those are the places where it's probably most likely going to be. You know, there's a whole bunch of sick people at the doctors with it. And then after that is when they started doing phone appointments, like locking down the doctors and, you know, all the rest of it. So I think I got it pretty much a good month before everything kind of lockdowns and, you know, that kind of stuff happened. But no, it's not fun. It's not fun. I'm only just at the point now where I'm like, this is why I'm smoking some extra cigarettes, because I'm like, when you have COVID, you can't do it. You cannot smoke.
Oh God, no.
I found and it's different for everyone. I found the 4 days of 103 fever the worst. I was just constantly boiling.
I went from either boiling to absolutely freezing to the point where there was nothing that could warm me up. It was the worst. I want to answer a question really quick for Dardine Creek. Just said they just released a witness list for Laurie Vallows' case, and Chad Daybell is on it. She says husbands can't testify against spouses except in cases of child endangerment.
Yeah,
Scott Ross explained that. For the most part, Dardine, that is absolutely true, Dardine. But in the state of Idaho, a husband may testify against a wife in anything because it is not considered privileged information in the state of Idaho.
Interesting. See, I love court trials too, so that's super interesting to me.
Later on, Dardine, really quick, I'll post a link to the news article where it's also it was cited by Scott Reach on his channel, but I'll post it in the community tab afterwards. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. I did download that and I forgot to read it. It was only yesterday. But What was I going to say? I hate that when you had something and forgotten. On a side note, you're a Gemini like me too. When you said your birthday before, it was June. No, I was going to go, no, it's not the same as mine. I thought you were going to say 9th, and you said 19th. I was like, I'm the 9th of June.
Oh, 9th of June.
Like, so many Geminis in the chat before. But I agree with you, Dardine. I think Chad's probably saving his dollars for his own defense as well.
He may need it.
He may need it. I was going to say something about that. Oh, okay. Witness list. Is it for the prosecution or the defense on the witness list? Who's
the witness list that came out? It was the defense. It was Laurie's Mr. Means that her attorney released a list of different people that he may call as a witness. And
Chad's on that, is he?
Yeah, Chad's on it, and so is her friend who in Arizona that she tried to get the lie for her to say that her kid that JJ was with her. I believe she's on it as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. So.
Right. So.
I kind of cruised through the actual release because it was it came out the same day as there was subpoena release came out. There was a talk about the witness list coming out later on that day, or
okay,
already released, and it was going to be published later on. Because I'm a member of quite a few. Well, I shouldn't say quite a few. I am a member of different groups, true crime groups out there that are not on YouTube. They have websites like the Web Sleuths, and there are groups that are like that. I use them as an example because there are other groups that are like that where they have more active members, people who actually participate within the chats and within the groups, and we research, we help each other out.
Yeah.
So you might want to look into like Web Sleuths because it's a website you can access definitely from Australia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Otherwise, you'd have to get a VPN. Like I know you said you were trying to look up some Australian cases and that, and I know that there's a lot of it works the same way. Like if I'm trying to find something in America, I'm gonna get to that website. I'll get blocked, but I've been meaning to try a VPN to kind of get around it. I've been told that that's one way you can try and get more information, like from different countries.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks that you have to pay for something to actually get access to to information like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I run into the same problem from here in America trying to research cases there in Australia and in New Zealand, and it's just been it. Sometimes I can find the article, but then I just can't read the rest of it. I can read part of it, like the highlights. The Cliff Notes, I guess, version of it. I'm like, I don't want to read just the Cliff Notes. I want to know the whole thing. Give me everything.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, why do you want to just shut it down to your own country? It's like, Sweet Crazy says it's so dumb that we can't hit on each other's channels and go there. I hate it. How we, be able to click on and go to things. So I wrote this down. I'm like, Will, I'm just like old school with this. Notes everywhere. Go-to channel is an extension for Chrome, and so apparently it reverses it, like so that you can do that again. So you can click on, or I don't even know why YouTube took it away. Maybe I heard it was something to do with they don't really like you networking and stuff. They don't like the the networking channels and pardon me. But burping, like building channels that way. So go to channel, all one word, and then I think it's a Chrome application that you can put in, and it will fix up that issue of not being able to click on the little dots and go to people's channels. That's what I heard. Wow.
Patty Morte. I'm reading what Cement Shoes wrote.
Patty Moriarty, and I don't know that one. The disappearance of Patty Moriarty in Larimar, Northern Territory. That's really, the Northern Territory is really like barren, kind of easy to get lost in as well, unforgiving kind of terrain and, you know, environment. Yeah, they are charging Gala court cases public. Yeah, Freedom of Information Act and that. But then there's a lot of pieces from the court and that I've had to pay for. Some of them can be pretty expensive too. I don't know what's happening with that Todd. How do you say it? TODT. Todd guy who killed his family in Florida. I haven't heard anything about that. But that one was like $27 for all the information in it. So yeah, it's not cheap.
Angie Wallace says that a lot of creators in the true crime community are Geminis.
June Geminis are the best. Yes, we are. It's on the 9th of June. It doesn't make my son, well, that makes him a Cancerian because he's the 25th of June. So I think the cusp is the 22nd, 23rd. But yeah, so we're all kind of similar. We're quiet, but we're sociable as well, I think.
If I didn't have a keychain that said that I was a Gemini, I probably wouldn't know. I don't follow astrology.
No, but I think that's kind of why I liked you, because you kind of like I felt like I could relate to you on your channel. Like you're quiet and like studious and factual, but like sociable with people as well, but not overly so. You know, you're not like, hey, everybody, here's my true crime channel. Come and watch.
Yeah. A lot of that has to do with where I'm from in the US and the way I was raised. And it was, you know, I don't think that I'm all that different from you know, a lot of other people who are out there. It's just, you know, I've made a little bit of a platform here to, you know, have my voice be heard. But there are a lot of good people out there in this world, you know, and there are a lot of nasty people, you know, and unfortunately, the good doesn't, you know, make the evening news all that often. What makes the evening news and makes the papers is the worst parts of society, the worst people in society.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and I can go into a chat and I don't know, just pick a channel or whatever, and you'll see 500 people in there. But it's because they're talking about who did what to who, and when, and how, and how are we going to get them back? And I've got these screenshots, and you know, and they said this and that, and I'm like, I really wish you could get 500 people, the same amount of people in for like a missing persons video or a live.
Yeah.
Or something like that. You know, that's the only time I care about views is when it's a missing persons one, because I want as many people to see this as possible, you know.
I understand that. You know, I do a series on missing and exploited, you know, missing children.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there isn't anything there really for a case. In a lot of the instances, it's been somebody within the family that has actually taken the child, a non-custodial parent, an uncle, and niece, a grandmother is somebody who has taken the child, somebody who's connected to the family. So I do a series on missing children, and it's absolutely mind-boggling. I mean,
Mhm.
I might get a couple, maybe 200 or 300 people to watch the video, but at the same time, I'll get 30,000, 40,000 people who want to watch the next Christopher Watts video about
Yeah,
how he's scrubbing the floors in prison.
I know. It
And
just
it's like, wow.
it's
Like
a word, yeah, where people's heads at.
drama does sell.
Yeah, but I just
Definitely.
refuse to subscribe to there's enough drama in the cases that we follow.
Yeah.
Um, that's enough drama for me. I just see these, people are yelling at each other on a live, and I'm just like, I'm out. Bye. I haven't got time for this. You know. So yes.
And like you were saying though, but that is true. You want to get those eyes on those certain cases that you cover.
Where they should be,
Yeah.
or for social justice causes or victims advocacy or things like that. But unfortunately, that's not where the eyes go to. It kind of sucks, but so I don't care.
And
If
you have to
my
find a way to balance it all out too.
yeah
Because if you watch the numbers too much, you'll start to see the interaction, the views, and how much, and then you're fighting YouTube and their algorithm on top of it, because they're not showing it to anybody, or they're showing it to them in a limited number, and you can go down a rabbit hole of and all that, and it will drive you nuts.
You can become your own worst enemy. I was doing it. I was like, just why is there only 50 views on this, or why are there only 4 people in here? And I was like, I had to let it go for my own sanity. I was like,
Yeah.
so now I'm just like, I don't look at it. I don't bother. So I think, just change your focus to something a bit more constructive, a bit more productive. That's about it.
And at the same extent though, that's what the trolls want. They want
Yeah.
they want you to take the eye off it, and a lot of times, these people are, who are hateful and want to start the drama. They don't want other people enjoying the content that you're putting out, because they want
No.
to focus on somebody else.
Yeah. And I actually haven't had a lot of trolls, just because I'm kind of like, I'm just you. I'm just like, what you see is what you get. Be respectful, treat people how you want to be treated, all the rest of it. But the trolls that I would get would be like, if I interviewed someone who might be a bit polarizing or controversial, like Dad with the Phone or Molly Golightly or something, and people hate them, hate them, hate them. So you get tarred with the same brush. We must hate you too, and then you have to choose who you're going to watch. You're going to watch him, or you're going to watch her, or, I'm like, no, you don't. You're a grown ass person. Excuse me. You can watch both if you enjoy both. They haven't done anything to me personally. Why should I hate someone because you say so? It's just blows my mind. Blows my mind. On that note,
I'm sitting here, I'm reading the thread here. Cynthia Grow. I think drama is like a part of life, like politics, death, and taxes. It's how you handle it that matters. That is very true.
yeah.
You,
Supposed
you
to
have to have balance. Now, I've gone over that edge though, and where I've let the trolls and the haters get to me, and in some cases, but then I realized it's just like the people that that say that they're here because they like your content, doesn't necessarily mean that they're really here for you.
Yeah, and it took me a while to learn because I guess was well, a bit not naive, but I kind of like see the good in people before I see the bad, and I said at the very beginning, there's enough room on YouTube for everyone, and clearly for some people there's not.
Well, I will go ahead and say that I was very naive. I will admit it. I was naive in the beginning, and and to some extent, I might be still today. But I want to believe that in people, and I want to believe in their best intentions.
Yeah.
But, and it still gets to me, that some people they'll troll you to the end, and they act like they're just wanting some understanding of something, and then find out 5 minutes later they're reporting it on another channel, or they're using your source, or they're stabbing you in the back, or they're making a video about you. They're doing something.
For what?
And well, somebody else that brought it up earlier that that there's people out there that they'll steal 100% of your content, and I've had it happen to me where they held up an index card over the corner of the screen, and it said where you couldn't see my name anymore, and that it was my content, my video, and then I'm like, wow, that's great.
Yeah.
But
wow, I've never seen that.
Well, I mean, if you look at some of the largest channels out there in the true crime community, they're recording, everything that they put out there off of TV. All they do is they record it, and wherever in the corners where the actual content ID is for ABC, NBC, Fox, or whatever that they might be recording off of, they expand it out so you can't. So it moves that the icons below what you're actually seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And the ID network and Lifetime network, I feel sorry for them because a lot of their content is all over YouTube. and
I guess there's a lot of like court trials and things like that that will happen. I know there's not a lot of. I don't think there's a lot of court channels. Like Wild About Trial doesn't seem to be up anymore. So I think there's only just like Scales of Justice and Court TV and a couple of other ones. But that gets all gets taken as well very easily. But I didn't know that about your videos. That's just amazing.
I've seen a little bit of everything over the time that I've been on YouTube, and if I would have let my point is that if I would have let these people get to me, I would have been gone long ago, and that's exactly what they wanted.
Yeah,
they wanted to see me gone, and that would have been a victory for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and unfortunately, they don't know me very well, and
and look, at the end of the day, it doesn't
content one way or another.
It doesn't matter, they're insignificant. Anything that matters is your friends and your family that are your friends and your family. That's really the only opinion. And this is my advice of, if you're starting a channel and things like that, you're not going to be able to please everyone all of the time. And just do what you enjoy. Just do it because you like it, whatever that may be.
I mean, if I was in this for the money.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I could make more money working for McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not any money in this. I mean, for what I get for ad revenue on YouTube, is piddlings.
I just got my first amount from YouTube because you had to get to $100 threshold for 14 months, and I just got my first $100. People say you do it for the money, and I'm like, yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, if I was doing this for the money, I'd definitely pick the wrong field.
Yeah, you did. You did. Yeah, even with numbers like yours, it's not. No, you're better off going, and you would make more on a minimum wage job for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, and a lot of that has to do with what YouTube actually pays. And Google AdSense, as you know, what you're getting from Google and YouTube in the true crime community is nothing compared to what you would make if you were making videos just about puppies or kittens.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have some way, some other way, some stick or whatever, some snake oil or something to sell to try to make it in this genre. And I mean, and I'm not complaining by any means at all. I'm glad, and I'm happy with what I have because it pays for the, for what I'm doing, pays for the internet and, and my ability to keep on doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really wish the YouTube and Google AdSense paid more, but they don't.
No, and with everything getting like demonetized by the time you get them to review it and go, oh yes, okay, it can be monetized. It's already had the bulk of the views, and so.
73% of all the content that I put out, I receive a yellow notice on everything that I put out immediately at the moment I upload.
Same.
I get the yellow icon, and then I either decide put it on private and wait for and then file the appeal and hope that it I get some kind of answer back within 2 days, and then I can release it. Or I release it and I just say, well, you know what, I'm not going to get any monetization on this for the next 4 days, 5 days, and when the views go and then they start to peak and come down, that's always when they come back. They're like, you know what?
Yeah,
right.
It is.
Yeah, we were wrong. You didn't have this
money. Way of not having to pay you as much. So,
unfortunately, that's the truth.
Yeah, it really is. Really is.
And there's not a damn thing I can do about it. I mean, I've put out videos where I've apologized for making an error, and I said I'm sorry. I credited the wrong person in the video for the information. I skipped down a line and I mixed the two names up. So on the credits itself, so as you're reading down in front of the screen here, so as you're reading down the credits, all of the credits were off. So, the first credit, where the information came from, there was nothing. And then everything else was down one line. So they didn't match up. So I made a video to apologize for that error. Not only did I lose the appeal, but they said that when I lost the appeal, it came back that I had talked about catastrophic loss of life. I'm like, how is it even possible? And they say a person actually, reviews those. I don't think they do. I think what they do is they like, okay, we already know we're not going to like your content because it's in this genre. So, and if you lose, you can appeal. I think what they do is they just then turn the algorithm on that, and they're like, okay, is there anything in here that we can object to?
Yeah. Like I did 7 parts for Letitia Stark's arrest affidavit.
Yeah.
And one of them has come back monetized, the other 6 not. And I'm like, it's all the same content all the way through. There's not anything special in that one. It's just, it's like this lottery of what's usable and what's not. Just that it just does my head in. So I try not to think about it, but it's pretty frustrating especially when you put all of this time in, days and weeks sometimes of information and editing and some people don't realize like how long it takes to, you know, to edit and put together something that's, you know, only 10 minutes. It'll take like hours, 20 hours or so to put together something.
Yeah. I've got videos that I've been working on for 2 months.
Yeah.
I mean, in research and checking sources, you know, and putting it all together, you know, and I'm just about to get ready to, you know, to launch it. And if I'm lucky, within a year, I might make $10 off that video.
Yeah.
For 2 months worth of work. I mean, even if I was only working on it for 2 months, 2 hours a day, if I was only doing that, what is my time worth?
That's right. That's right. I think I brought that up. Like, you know, if we were to charge an hourly rate, gosh, like the amount of time hours we've put in, you know. And the other thing that trolls forget too is like quite often, especially in the beginning, or if you know, you might only have a couple of thousand subs or whatever, you end up forking out more money than you actually make back in, because you've got to pay for your internet. You've got to pay for, you might want to upgrade your StreamYards. Mine's free at the moment, but you know, getting documents, it's, you know, charging you $5 a search, or a certain you know, amount per page, or Skype credit, so I could, you know, ring different people and speak to the FBI and you know, all the rest of it. Just forget about the amount of money you outlay.
Oh yeah.
So
on the Christopher Watts case, everything, 100% of everything that I made from AdSense from that, I donated to the United States Lupus Foundation of North Carolina. And I went so deep down the rabbit hole in that case, getting actual certified copies of documentation, because in the back of my mind, I was convinced somewhere along the line, somebody was going to, one, not believe me, two, they were going to question me, and three, they wanted to see where the documentation came from. And I had spent so much money of my own money and taken it out of my savings account to pay for certified copies from the actual courts, and then have them overnight expressed to me, you know, through FedEx. I'll never make near the money back on that. But you know, and even all the money I would make on it, I mean, I donated it all, and still I got people who, you know, said, well, you're just doing this for the money. And I'm like, how am I doing it for the money? I'm losing money.
In a public article about the Lauren Thompson case. So I went and posted everything that I'd ever made from a year's worth of doing that missing persons, and even going overseas and all the rest of it, and it was under $20. Everything that I'd made, and I went, "There's your proof," you know. So anyway, there's no pleasing miserable people. So yeah, it is. Yeah, it is ridiculous. We even need to explain ourselves, Elisa. Absolutely. You know. Yeah, and in a piece, I totally agree. Like, best channel by far on Christopher Watt as far as facts and everything, research and anything else. So
and then let's not forget, but I ended up in the trailer for the Christopher Watts documentary. I didn't get anything for that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, they used my screenshot, a screenshot of me, and Molly Go Lightly in there as well.
I must have missed that.
Oh, I'll send you. I'll send you the picture afterwards. I have it saved.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Everybody freaked out. They're like, "Oh my God, I was watching on TLC and I saw you." And I'm like, "Really? I didn't know anything about this." But they also used that same picture in promotional material for the documentary, and none of us got a dime for that. And I'm like, how can you possibly do that? And apparently, from what my attorney said, is because our image is in the public domain, they can use it.
Yeah, KLTV
really?
took images of my channel when I pissed off the sheriff in Pinole County, Texas, and he went back to KLTV. They used images from my channel, CBS and affiliates, and yeah, apparently they can. But then if I use any of their clips in relation to the same story, I would get a copyright.
Isn't that amazing how they can do that?
Yeah.
Like, if I use the actual video clip of me in the trailer, I would get a copyright claim.
Yeah,
but
obviously.
They can use me without my consent. I'm like, how is that possible?
I don't know. Yeah, it's really they've got big lawyers and lots of money, and we're just the poor YouTubers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got a lot of people who are like, the day that I had no idea. I was actually doing a live stream that night, and all these people kept on coming in. They're like, "Hey, I just saw you on TV. I just saw you on the Christopher Watch thing," and I thought people were screwing with me, And I'm like, whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'm just blowing them off. I mean, people come in, you don't really recognize, and you're like, okay, whatever. I'm in the Christopher Watch thing, whatever. Then people started sending me snapshots of it, and I'm like, oh, damn, I am in there. I mean, it's only for, I think it's 7 seconds long, but but on the same screenshot though, so I'm in the bottom left-hand corner. Molly Golightly is in the top, and I can't remember who the other two are, but it's a screenshot of 4 different screens of people who covered the Christopher Watts case pretty extensively. So,
wow, that's crazy! I can't believe that I missed that.
If it's like one of those things in life. You're there, and if you don't watch it, you're gone. You blink, you miss it. At the same time, I ended up on the national news. This lady, she was a reporter. She just asked me what I thought about it, and I thought she was doing it for local news coverage. And apparently, even if they cover it for a local news story, the national affiliate has the rights to it, and I ended up on the national news in this little trailer, part of it, as the intro to and then the outro of that, that series. And I'm like, okay, you never know. I got my it's a fame.
I'm not smoking a joint, dear. It's a mixture of tobacco and marshmallow and rosemary. Not rosemary, marshmallow and some other flour.
Was the other one Mary Marlowe? Was she in there in that picture as well? She might be one of them.
I know that name.
Yeah, she has a YouTube channel, Mary Marlowe.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, all 4 of the little snapshot pictures that it's all one picture, but they're 4 different frames from 4 different creators, and I'm in the bottom left, and but Mary Marlowe, I guess, is one of them. So I don't know who's the one directly above me. Okay. But I have it on my computer. After this, I'll send you a picture of it.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
I got so many of them. Just about everybody, who saw it, and had any way of contacting me was like, "Oh my God, I saw this!" And they started, sending me it. And then I found out that I was in the trailer, in the promotional material. That's what got me upset. Was I can't stop them from doing it for a movie. It's on TV. That's a documentary, supposedly, but not really all that great of a documentary to start with. But when they used it in print advertisement and promotional material, that's where I think they crossed the line. And I'm like, they're making money on that.
Yeah. People are looking at it and associating you with all of this, and that's a huge,
right.
You know, conceptual idea. It's like it makes people talk about it, and people who talk about it, you know, who will buy things and buy time, buy streaming, whatever. So
it definitely made it look like that each and every one of us who was in that snapshot had something to do with it, or that we condoned their reporting and coverage in the documentary. Because the way that they played it on TV was they played the actual movie of Christopher Watts movie, you know, and the his life and how he killed the, you know, his children in Cheyenne. They played that. Then there was commercials, and then after it came back, it played the documentary, and then the first couple seconds of the documentary is when they played us, you know, our little snapshot in there. And I was just like, so if somebody was watching it and that, you know, they were watching the Christopher Watts movie the day it was released, it certainly looked like that we were part of the entire thing.
Mm-hmm. You know, and then if you juxtaposition that with like them using something different, it definitely would speak a totally different kind of narrative.
Mm-hmm.
I totally get it. And wow, I'm just like, the first time I'm hearing about this, it's just amazing. The movie was such bullshit. Excuse my language. Sorry.
Yeah. The
movie was such BS. Sorry, Cynthia said. Yeah, I kind of expected. I don't know what I expected. I think I expected more though.
And don't forget, all at, you know, at the same time, it doesn't really matter, but they did run the actual movie in short order release in a couple of select theaters in America. I know one theater in Los Angeles. It's the Disaster Artist. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
Disaster Artist. The Room. The movie's called The Room. Somebody out there is going to know who I'm talking about, but I can't remember what his name is. He's just a weird guy, the Disaster Artist. But maybe Alley Cat knows, because that stoner guy's in it. Not that you're a stoner, but I saw that Alley Cat is smoking Kush. But he rented. He still had a giant billboard in Los Angeles, and for some ungodly amount of time, for like, I think, years now, he has been renting out that theater just to show his movie nonstop.
Wow.
But on that same theater screen there, they actually did a theatrical release of the Christopher Watts movie there in that theater. Tommy Wiesel.
Tommy something. Tommy,
yeah, like Wiesel or something like that. So some weird thing like that.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, I guess it's Lifetime. It can only do so much, but I just watched it, and afterwards I was kind of like, I think there was just so much hype beforehand about what it was going to be like that I don't know, Bex.
James Franco actually starred in it. The movie is actually called The Disaster Artist. But what is his actual real name? Tommy. Yeah, this is going to bother me.
I get like that. Yeah.
I'll remember it like at midnight tonight. It's gonna come.
Yeah, you're going to bed and going, that's his name.
Yeah, it's you know what Wazia? Or how do you pronounce it? Tommy Wazia?
Wizzo.
It's something weird like that.
Wizzow.
Wazell, something like that. He's just a freak of nature. He made one movie, and it became kind of like a cult hit. Mainly because he pushed it forever, and he has zero acting talent. And then they made the movie about him and his making of this strange, bizarre movie. But that same theater, that's where the Christopher Watts. It played there in Los Angeles.
Wow. Do you know how it went? Like how it went down? Like a ton of bricks?
I have no idea how successful it was, or but I just know that the actual movie played there. I know a lot of people don't like it, but that Cradle's book, even though she supposedly lied and she stole a large portion of the book, and but she's selling those. It's still selling like crazy on online on Amazon.
Oh, is it? I thought because she had plagiarized, I thought they took it down. She had to give that money to the.
Well, because of the suit and everything, the money might be going to the other person, but the book is still being sold on Amazon, and Amazon is still selling it in digital and in paperback copies.
No.
And every time another story, you can actually watch it online. Every time another story or something else comes out about Christopher Watts, the sales go up a little bit more, and then they start to flatten out.
Well, I'll tell you, the fiction book about it was, I interviewed Tanya Hagen a couple of times. She wrote a fictional version of it, and it's way better than Cadle's attempt. So, in my opinion, anyway. But yeah. So.
And thank you for the super chat, Melissa Nolan. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep, good for you to support your streams. Scotland, UK, signing off. Yeah, it must be. You guys must be getting up to midnight now.
Get it 2 a.m. there.
Yeah. Oh, look, there she is. There's my girl, Red Rum.
Red Rum.
Yeah, come over here. Come over here to have a chat. But yeah, what do we? Wow, we are. We're almost up to 2 hours. That's crazy. Just talking about what we love.
It just goes by so quick.
Yeah, it does. Like when you've got like we all love the same things. So there'll be a replay, Red Rum, I'm sure. I don't know where she's been. Where have you been?
What's the name of the book again? Miss Cradles? Letters from Chris?
Letters from Christopher.
Yeah.
Cadle.
I've never read any of them. I have no intentions to. I have the book here. I do have the book because one of my viewers and supporters, she sent me the book, but I have not read it. It's still sitting in the box. Matter of fact, that it came in. I told her if I do read it, it was going to be a very long time from now before I actually do.
Mm. Yeah, I didn't pay for my copy. Someone sent it to me the day before it came out. And yeah, I'm glad I didn't pay for it. That's all I will say.
Was sent a bootleg version.
Yes.
That happens a lot.
Well, I don't think that. not that Cadel had any experience, but I think handing it out to some YouTube channels before like the whole story arc before actual release was a bit silly.
Gayla, sorry for interrupting, but Gayla Denson, I just put out part 2 of the Butterfield murder case today. So if you go to my channel, part 2 is on there right now. I released that in between this morning stream and this one. But go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Oh no, it's okay. Oh, I was just going to reply to Bex. The fiction book based on the Watts family members is called No Inclination. And you can get it on Amazon in paperback or Kindle. So yeah, it's inspired by events. So it's about the Spencer family, but essentially it's the same crime. Just it's fictional. It's not another nonfiction. So it's really good. It's really good.
I hear that Shannon's mother is going to be writing a book.
I did hear that too. And then I think she was having second thoughts, and then no, now she's going to write it again. So I'm not too sure. I would read that. I mean, from her perspective,
I'd support the hell out of that.
I would.
If she actually can find a way to actually really do it, and even if she used, a co-author or a ghostwriter, somebody else to help her with it, I'd support that.
Mm-hmm. If it helped her, it could be incredibly cathartic for her to do. I don't know. But if it was, then yeah, definitely say do it for sure.
Cookbook?
I'd buy her cookbook. I don't want to cook anything else here. Baking and cooking, and because there's only so much YouTube and Netflix you can watch. I've already gone through Tiger King, How to Fix a Drug Scandal. Now I'm on I Am Killer. That is excellent.
I love I Am a Killer. I love it. You know how they do that and how it's it's structured, where they interview them and then they go through the actual facts of the case, and then they come back and they give the person who they talk to, what about this?
How do you feel about this?
Yeah. And why did you leave that out earlier when we were talking to you?
Mm-hmm.
I love how they structure that. That is, I'm like, what? I sit there halfway through and I'm like, go back, interview him again.
Yeah.
I want to know why did they do it?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. And straight into, without ruining anything, but that first episode about the I guess you'd call it like assisted suicide. Is that like the first case in America where kind of assisted suicide was like
well, we have Jack Trevorkian here.
Who? What?
Jack Trevorkian, assisted suicide. He was famous back in the 80s and 90s for assisted suicide. He helped a lot of people at the end of their life.
Yeah. So first episode, I Am a Killer. So kind of like assisted suicide, I guess.
I don't remember who the first case is. I've watched them all, but I'm
that woman who she only knew him for 26 days. It was like try to give it in a synopsis rather than ruining it or anything like that. But yeah, like it's like I don't want to live anymore or whatever. Kind of like help me die. But I think she was. I think that was episode 1. She was just very devious. I think. I can't remember what state they were in though, because Cynthia was saying assisted suicide is legal in Oregon and I think Washington.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I know quite a few doctors. I'm in Washington State. There's Washington D.C. and then I'm in Washington State. But I know quite a few doctors who counsel in life care patients that in end of life care, and I couldn't do it. Not at all. I mean, I know these people, they're really suffering, but I just have too many different things in my background that would stop me from doing it.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, without understanding, I understand, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Epstein for suicide.
Yeah.
Every day my wife posts another meme on Facebook about Epstein's suicide. Epstein didn't kill himself.
I've been posting too many Tiger King ones.
I still haven't seen any. I haven't seen a single episode yet.
Gosh. It's like, I didn't even find it. My husband brought it to me, and I was like, geez. You really are cooped up if you're bringing Tiger King to me. But yes.
Tori 7038. Thank you for the super chat.
There was a super sticker. I meant to go and have a look at it. I was doing a live, and they were all doing super stickers, and for some reason it was all these pears, and I was like, what's with the pears? Dancing pears and kissing pears. Thank you.
What if Carol Baskin killed Epstein?
Oh my gosh. Don't start. Someone will make a video about it. Oh, it's not showing me what the little sticker is. Oh yeah, it is. It's the pear. It's the fist pump pear.
No. Leave it to Bieber. I have not seen that. Al Pacino as Dr. Kevorkian. I have not seen that.
No? That would be cool.
I'm going to have to look into that.
Yeah, thank you.
For sure.
Yeah. I'm trying to find interesting things to watch, but nothing's like really grabbing my interest. You know? So yeah.
Does Miss Murder have a podcast? Miss Murder has a YouTube channel.
I have a channel. Sometimes it's podcasty, sometimes it's non-casty. It's How to Fix a Drug Scandal was excellent. Yeah, that was really good. Elbow bump.
Elbow instead of handshakes. Supposed to bump elbows instead of handshakes.
Right. Yep.
Bump elbows. Yep. The first couple times I saw that in a stream where somebody said that, I was like, what? What does that even mean? Bump elbows. Is that like some new kid hipster thing? Kids are doing these days. Like twerking or something. I didn't know what it was a reference to. And then I saw the thing from the World Health Organization. Don't shake hands, bump elbows. I'm like, oh, now I get it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's a virus thing. Who wrote No Inclination?
Tanya Hagen wrote No Inclination, Melissa. There's a couple of interviews on my channel with her if you want to watch them. She's a lovely lady. Lovely lady. She lived in Chicago as well, same as Cadel. And she was going to write it as a nonfiction, but then Cadel came. She found out Cadel was writing it, so she decided to do it as a fiction book. Yes.
And you said that's on your channel? I'm gonna have to go watch.
Yeah, with Tanya Hagen. But yeah, she just named them the Spencer family and changed a few things. And actually, when you read it, it's like you're getting the same crime, but you're kind of not thinking of the Watts family. You're thinking of this unique family on their own. You know. So, yeah, very interesting. I'm asking to go to the loo, to the toilet. Keep saying loo, and then people are going, "What's the loo?"
Well, I understood it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. A lot of it because it's very British kind of thing.
It's the way my family refers to, the restroom, the loo, the wash. It's just how they refer to things. And I find myself a lot of times in the comment section when I'm replying to people, I refer to them as, love,
Yeah.
or,
I do. I like say honey, love a lot.
yeah.
That kind of thing.
And, or bloat.
Or what?
Bloat. Friend.
Bloke.
Male friend.
Oh, bloke.
Yeah.
Bloke. I thought you said bloat. Bloat. I'm like, bloat.
No, like not like bloat, like blow up. Bloat.
Bloke. Yeah. Thanks, pal. Yeah.
Yeah, that was when I first started my channel. That was one of the things that I really worked on, is getting rid of my speech pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And because where I'm from in America, a lot people they pause and they go, uh-huh, and yeah, and oh, you betcha. And you're not even referring to anything. So you'll be finishing a thought. You'll say, uh-huh, yeah. At the end of a thought, it's like you say a sentence and you end the sentence with that. You say a thought, you say that at the end of a thought. And I have had to work on getting rid of that so much. That's why a lot of my first videos are not on YouTube anymore. I deleted them all, but it was. I actually hired a speech therapist to help me.
I do remember you saying that. Yeah. But I mean, it's harder the best of times to when you're on your own to be speaking, unless you're used to it, public speaking or being in the debate team or something like that. But I find it hard. Like I find it a lot easier if there's someone there to talk to, and definitely. But what is? Yeah, that's pretty sick. Cement shoes. I'm not going to read it out, but there are some really warped people out there.
Someone once told me, I hope all your children die of drug overdoses. People are just sick.
Yeah, I know you've had your share of them. I've had some death threats and stuff come before I left for Texas, and
it's not fun.
No, it's not. It's not part of the job description.
The first time I got death threats and threats against my family and everything else, and the first time I was doxxed was over a Christopher Watts video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember.
I made a video on YouTube, and someone took that as, you know what? I'm going to destroy and make this man's life miserable for it.
Mm-hmm.
They were actually successful at one point. I don't think they knew that they were, but they were. They were successful at my old house to actually getting people to show up.
Wow.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I was reading I have my cell phone sitting next to me, and there's one ringtone for notifications, and then one from my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Here, it's 6 o'clock. She was just asking me what I want for dinner. Like,
yeah, well, I'll be thinking about lunch. Nurse Bev doxed is putting someone's personal information out there, like their address, full name, I don't know, phone number, date of birth.
Well, the person that doxed me, they were. I think they had to be on some kind of like directory or something, because they were posting everybody with my name and first and last name, and they were all over the world. And they eventually, I guess, through trial and error, they eventually found my address, and they posted online that I was giving away free tablets. So they had all these people. They placed a Craigslist ad that I was giving away free tablets to the first like 20 people who showed up, and they got people to show up at my house looking for tablets. It just happened to be home that day, luckily, and it wasn't just my wife and my infant at home. And I was like, "Who are you? What do you want?" I just happened to be outside when these people started showing up and walking up to my house, and I'm like, "You better back up, get the hell off my property." I don't know who did that.
They never found out who did that?
Not that time. The other two times we definitely knew, because I was very vigilant at that point to save the information from when it happened. Immediately report it to my local police department has or your there for constables, right? Do you have constable?
Yeah, as one level constables, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they here we have a detectives division that's separate from the actual police department. They're in a completely different building and location, and all they deal with is internet crimes. And the officer was like, this is really serious. And after he watched the stream, and he's like, this is really serious. This is not something we joke around about. If this happens again, I need you to contact me immediately so I can start, the request from YouTube and your provider and everybody else to find out when this is happening and where it's coming from. We found them. We found the next two people who did it, and both of them ended up taking plea deals. They were prosecuted.
Wow. And is that a felony or a misdemeanor?
Well, the one was actually charged with a felony, and he pled down to 2 misdemeanors, and he received 3 years probation, like a $5,000 fine, court costs, restitution, which he's never going to pay. He's never had a job. He's like 32 years old and never had a job in his life. Lives with his disabled father. I want to say mother, but it was his disabled father, and he's a caretaker for him, but he doesn't get paid for it. But and they had the whole family got shaken up over that one, because he had to find somebody else who had to come in to take care of his father while he was in jail, because he ended up having to do like 32 days in jail. That was in Ohio.
Wow. So, with everything that Oni did, because I reported on it only because it was illegal stuff, not that it was, drama stuff, but he swatted himself and used Joe's for Justice's name, but he still doesn't admit to that. He admits to doxing himself. Swatting himself, sorry. It was a misdemeanor, and he got charged $350, no jail time.
There's been people who've been killed over that swatting shit.
Yeah, there was one guy in California just got 20 at the end of 2018, got 20 years for swatting. And so it's like doxing, except you'll ring the police or the non-emergency line or CPS and say this person has a gun. I can hear them threatening their children, you know, and they call it swatting because it's almost like a SWAT team mentality swarms in, you know, busts the door down sometimes, and people have been killed by it.
Well, what they try to do is they try to call in, an anonymous terroristic threat, and they try to get it ramped up so the SWAT team actually responds. And there's a video online where it's two gamers who are playing against each other in some kind of like battle royale game or something, and the one won. So as a retaliation, the one kid did it to the other, and he sat across the street and he videotaped the police coming in, busting the door of this home, and him laughing his ass off, thinking it was the funniest thing in the world. And then the cops found out that it was the kid across the street who did it, and he had videotaped the entire thing, and he posted it online. He thought it was funny.
It's crazy.
Cement Shoes says that they got a death threat for commenting on a Christopher Watts video.
Yeah, it's serious. It's like, what? You can't even make a comment anymore, have an opinion without fearing for your life. It's like, what kind of world do we live in exactly?
Well, a lot of that with the Christopher Watts, we can trace it back to a certain period when it started, and one person in particular, really ramping up their viewership to the point where they were ravenous, and they sent them out to, maybe not, necessarily said, go get this person or this person or this person, but worked them up into a frenzy, and we have actual screenshots of a lot of it, and what was going on in a private. Well, he thought it was a private group that where he was talking to just people who were following him.
Right, yeah.
Wow. Unfortunately, a lot of those channels are no longer on YouTube because they were successful at getting them all removed. Not the person who worked all these viewers up into a frenzy, but the channels that were trying to fight back against it.
Interestingly enough, a lot of the channels that kind of made me decide to start my own channel, I don't watch them anymore, or they're gone. It's just because they've evolved, but not into something that I particularly like. So, I think we all do kind of evolve on these channels. We learn things, we make mistakes, I think trust a bit too much.
It's part of life.
Part of life, part of growing, learn by it. Just keep going. And
if you don't learn from your mistakes, you're doomed to repeat them.
One of my favorite sayings. Well, another one is actually my favorite saying is "No good deed goes unpunished." I've learned that a lot.
Unfortunately, that is true. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I kind of make it hard for everyone else. But I am sorry, I'm going to have to jump off now. I'm dying to go to the toilet, so I can come back, or jump off, but
okay.
I can't hold it anymore.
Well, thank you.
I've just told 50 people what I need to do, but
Cement Shoes is having TV dinners. I haven't had a TV dinner in years. When I was a kid, Cement Shoes, my dad used to eat these TV dinners, and my mom would bring him. He had like a TV tray, and she'd put in front of his little recliner. For some reason, I always want to think that they were like Hungry Man or something like that. Meals that when it came in like a aluminum foil thing, and you peel the aluminum foil off them. And we never ate them as kids, but my dad would eat them every once in a while when he'd come home late from work and when he had to leave early or leave again for work. But I always wanted one of those, and I never got one. I've had TV dinners since then, but they don't look anything like what my dad used to get. Years later, 30 years later or whatever it was down the line, when I finally had that memory of it again, and then I went to the store, there wasn't anything like that, in the supermarket back then. Nurse Bev, I'd never get away with serving TV dinners. Hi, Dee Dee. There's nothing like they used to be. My dad would eat weird things like that every once in a while, TV dinners, but he was different. Nobody else got it.
Apparently now you have to wash your hands for 20 seconds. I'm like, who came up with that? I'm like, it's now in our household. 20 seconds. I'm like, okay. Well, you've had a big day doing this live before, and now this one with me.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's good to talk to you.
I enjoy it. I enjoy doing this.
Yeah. Last year sometime, you were doing some videos outside. I remember one didn't work and you had to come back or something. Anyway, you were outside. I was thinking, it'd be so cool to sit down with a campfire and Will and bourbon and just talk true crime. I was like, just a random thought I had last year.
That sounds good.
I thought that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Yeah, I went over there for 5 weeks at the end of last year. And like I said, just before I left, I got a death threat. So the FBI had a duty to warn. I think they said it's called. So they were just keeping an eye on me when I was over there because I was over there for 5 weeks. And but I'm going to come. I was all ready to come back for your break. When is your school break? Oh, like August, September. Is it like your summer break?
Well, it depends upon where you are in the U.S. when school breaks are. Out here on the West Coast, where I am, school breaks in June, and then that's for summer vacation, and they have breaks for holidays.
Okay, yeah, like the big break.
It's remarkable how much different the school system is here where I am now versus where I grew up in Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. It's vastly different.
And even here too. Like our school year is February to like November, and then you've got the summer break. So December, January, and go back at the beginning of end of January, beginning of February. So yeah, it's totally different. But
throughout the school year here, they have so many professional days and days off and weeks off, where they just don't have school. And it's like, why? I never had these kind of vacation days when I was growing up. I mean, we got out sometimes early. School would end at like noon in the afternoons because of harvest.
Oh wow!
But we never got lengthy vacations like like my son and my daughter get now.
Yeah, like 6 weeks or so. Like it's about I think it's about 6-7 weeks here, and then we have terms, so we have 4 terms. So you'll get 2 weeks off in June, 2 weeks off in September, then like 6-7 weeks off, and Easter you get a little bit of time off too. So
Damn.
Yeah, it's all split up like that. But
next
guys had a lot of.
Next year, my son was supposed to go. We're not sure what's going to happen now with the, because all the schools are closed here, and we're not sure if it's up to the state if he's going to have to repeat the preschool that he was in. If he has to repeat it, then it won't happen next year, so it'll happen the year after. But next year, he's supposed to go to all year round school, where they don't get a summer vacation. They get instead of 6 weeks, like a normal summer vacation, they get 2 weeks, and they get 1 week off from in between Christmas and Thanksgiving, and that's it.
It sounds more like here. Yeah, like we're broken up into basically fourths, and then get 2 weeks off, then do another quarter, 2 weeks off, But I was wondering what it was like there about the with the schools. Total opposite here. Most schools are kept open, unless a student has been tested positive, and then they will close that school. But that's only been a handful of schools. Our Prime Minister's verbatim said, I don't want our students missing out on a year of education.
That'd be nice. So I'm now the teacher during the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm nowhere near as But my son was in preschool, but still I can't. He was just starting to get used to it. It's kind of a new change. Going to school and everything else in preschool, and and he was making friends and everything else and getting used to the routine, and then all of a sudden,
I can't explain it to them. They don't understand why, this is happening or that's happening, or why I can't hug grandma, or, all of the things that must be so hard on them. But yeah, very hard.
It's definitely important that, here in my household, my wife works in a medical lab. She doesn't deal directly with COVID yet. They won't start dealing with COVID until Monday, when they'll be they switch over to doing the COVID screening there, testing there in their lab. But she's in the what is it? She's not she doesn't deal with that, but they're going to. The company that she works for is switching over to that, along with pathology. She works in the pathology side of it, of medical lab. But the pathology lab, there's such a shortage of laboratories that can actually test it, so they're switching over to doing COVID starting Monday. My son's so his grandmother, she works in the actual one of only 2 places here locally where you can go to get a COVID test. She either does it for you, or you go to the hospital and they do it for you.
Wow, because that was going to be my next question. Is like, what is the testing like? Like where you are, has it increased? Because it's increased a lot here, which is good.
Well, here locally right now, the only way you can get a COVID test still is if you have symptoms or a symptomology, or you have something from a doctor that says that you were exposed to it from somebody else who tested positive.
I had to fight, because when I had it, the rules still were, we're not going to test you unless you've been overseas in the last 14 days or you've come into known contact with someone. And I had to fight them and fight them and fight them and fight them over it and say, you know, I listen to my body. This is not what I get. This is not the flu that I get every year. And I had to make several phone calls back and forth between the hospital in order to get where I needed to get to. And now it's more lax. It's like if you've got symptoms now, you know, or anything like that, go get a test. Everybody go get a test. Get a test. Get a test. Get a test. You know, it's amazing what a difference just a matter of weeks can make.
Well, they're hoping to get that, you know, here all over the United States, but that's not the way it is here where I am. Now, where I am, there is population density wise, there in all the cities, the cities surrounding us, there's about 325,000 people, and there are only two of the three hospitals is actually testing for it. And there's still only enough tests to test only those with symptomology, symptoms of it, and those who have, you have a note from a doctor, from somebody who was directly exposed. My first test I got because I was exposed at work by someone who was there as a temporary employee, went back home, and then they tested positive. Then the health department there contacted our work and said,
so they would contact
every one of those people who was working with this guy and get them in now to get tested.
Yeah, well, that's why the contact tracing is super important, you know. And then I got sick in the middle of the week, and I immediately knew it wasn't COVID again, because it felt like I'd been hit by a bus, and I had runny nose, and kind of like more head kind of sinusy kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, my doctor's saying the chances of you getting it again are low. Guess, but I guess if there's a different type of strain of it, you could get that, couldn't you? Because they kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? That they
mutation.
Mutate. Yeah.
Have they tested you for your antigen level?
No, that's what I had found interesting when you said before that I
got it.
Antibodies.
Yeah. So they tested me for my my antibody and it has like a level. I don't know the scale, but they gave me the number, and my wife and my mother-in-law, who work in medical laboratories, they explained to me what that is, and my level of the antibodies that are in my blood are more towards the high end than the lower end. So when the doctors initially diagnosed me, they said that I had a mild form. I had a mild exposure, a mild actual case of the COVID virus. And I was like, okay. So they sent me home, and I had me keep on going back. I went every other day for breathing inhalation there. But it turns out that I actually had a higher exposure, and I had a higher virus load in my body. And as us both being smokers, it's even twice as dangerous for us because we've already decided to destroy our lungs.
Yeah, and I was a chronic asthmatic as well. Not so much like as I got older, like it got a bit easier. But yeah, all of a sudden, like they had to put me back on steroids and stuff I hadn't had to deal with in years. So
I'm still taking them. I'm still taking the steroid, and I'm still doing the albuterol sulfate on top of it all.
Yeah, I think that's the one I've got, the red and white powdery one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've got that one too. That's just the regular one for me.
The other one, I take it's in a pill form. That little it's a little bit larger than a Tylenol, like a gel cap, but it's all white.
Oh, it's just like a screw one and inhaler, but it like you screw it forward and backwards, and it crushes a pill in it.
Yeah. I have to put the pill in there, and it does that. And then
yeah. Same thing. So I'm coming up to.
I can do that now, though. I can actually make that now. I can actually breathe in deep enough to actually do that. I couldn't do that.
It takes a few weeks to get back to normal for sure. Well, I'm coming up to 2 months now, almost. Yes.
The worst part of it all was trying to sleep, and then my mind running through, am I going to make it through the night? Am I going to wake up, or am I going to die in my sleep? Because I had a lot of nights like that where it was like, I was just like, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't get in air, and it was every night was just a battle. And then,
it's one of the scariest feelings, isn't it? And it's like, it's so hard to explain. Like someone's sitting on your chest or something. It's like, it's not like heartburn, but like all the muscle is kind of like just burning, suppressed, not like heartburn suppressed, but like it's hard to explain.
But I had pain, so it was down the middle and then towards the bottoms on each side of my rib cage.
Yeah, with the muscles and that they're working overtime. It's one of the most scariest feelings, not being able to breathe. Definitely not something I want to go through.
I don't want to do it again.
And I hope they're right when they say that the likelihood of you getting it again is low, because I'm hearing all different things from around the world about people retesting positive and things like this, but without knowing how the testing procedures go and the empirical data on it, blah 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 blah. It's hard to know what's true, what's not. So in a piece, gonna take more than COVID to knock us down.
True.
Definitely.
It tried, but it didn't. It had no chance.
It tried. Yeah, it's a bit like trolls. Tried, not good enough. Next. Yep. Oh dear. It should be almost dinner time, yeah? It's almost lunchtime here.
Yeah, I do have to get going here. She's going to be making dinner here shortly, or it's going to be done. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what her text said right now, but thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I hope everybody enjoyed the chat that we've been having.
We just love talking about anything, really.
Yeah.
Everything.
We do. Oh, thank you everybody for joining us today while we rambled on about everything and nothing at the same time.
That's it.
That's what we do.
Thanks for coming in, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And everybody, check out Miss Murder's channel on YouTube. And Keg Love, thank you again for sharing the links to everything.
Yes, thank you. It's been awesome.
Really nice of you to do that. Short Nice. Have a good night, Short Nice. I'm glad you can make it. Good night, everyone. Guys.